This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Brianna Mans.
Hello and welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Are you in need of a counseling service? One might be closer than you think. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to your good neighbor, Miss Samantha Speed. Miss Samantha, tell us how it's going today.
It's going great. I'm having a great day. Thanks for asking.
Great. So Miss Samantha here has her private practice. The private practice name is Samantha Speed Counseling and Consulting. We're excited to learn all about you and your business. So tell us a little bit more about your company.
Sure. So my practice opened about 2 years ago, and I actually specialize in working with folks dealing with anxiety, including people pleasing and perfectionism. And I also specialize in working with folks dealing with religious trauma. That could include folks that are deconstructing, dealing with spirituality issues, cult recovery, stuff like that. So those are the two main categories of specialties I work with. And my practice is a fully virtual practice. I work with folks throughout the state, so that's kind of nice from an accessibility standpoint. And I also work with folks in South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. So that's the primary bulk of what I do for my work.
Awesome. And how did you get into this business?
So I went to graduate school in 2013 in Chicago, Illinois. I got my master's degree there, and I really wanted to be able to support folks dealing with mental health concerns when I first started out in this field. And as my career has progressed, I'm coming up on about 10 years now of working in this field. I think the thing that's really kept me in this business and what's really encouraged me to stick along with it and support folks is really being able to, number one, educate people about the benefits of counseling, what you can get out of it, dismantle some of the stigma with counseling and psychotherapy, but also to be able to be a source of healing and support for some things that I'm really passionate about, which is anxiety and trauma primarily. Those couple of things, I think, both through lived experience as well as my clinical experience, has really helped drive a lot of the work that I do and why I feel really passionate about it.
Awesome. I love that. And what would you say are some myths and misconceptions in your industry?
So I think a lot of times when people are looking for counseling, they often think that it's going to be really stuffy. It's going to be really scary. It's going to be something that we should just avoid at all costs. But I think as mental health has become a lot more destigmatized in our common culture, I think one of the myths is that counseling is going to be the hardest thing you'll ever have to go through, and you'll be traumatized forever. And it's just something that we don't want to talk to any strangers about. But what I find is that there's actually a lot of therapists out there that are very relatable, that are very down to earth, really just like want to have human connections with other people and support them. So it's not necessarily as scary as oftentimes people assume that it is. I think another misconception is that it's supposed to be quick. Sometimes certain therapy approaches can be quicker than others, but I often tell folks therapy is often harder before it gets easier. And that doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything, quote, wrong with you or wrong with the therapist. So it's a lot of work. It's a choice you make to continue working with a therapist. And then I think my last misconception is that every therapist is perfect for every person. Finding a therapist is a lot like dating, in my opinion. There are therapists that vibe well with certain folks, and there are therapists that don't vibe well with certain folks. So just because you maybe had a bad experience with a therapist in the past doesn't necessarily mean that all therapists are going to be exactly the same way as a therapist you've had before. It just takes some time to find the right one, really.
Understood. Very, very so. So we do know that marketing is the heart of every business. Who would you say are your target customers, and how do you attract them?
I would say that a lot of the folks I seek out or I market towards are people that are ready to do some deeper dives and deeper work into themselves. They're in a place where they are like, I know that I've been struggling with this issue. I know that I've been dealing with so much anxiety or people pleasing. I know that this religious trauma has been like a monkey on my back, like trying to like eat at me. Like it feels so difficult. But the folks that I work with are aware of it, and they are ready to start doing the work to excavate and mine out, how did I get here? What are the patterns of behavior that I've been stuck in? And I'm ready for some support from someone who knows how to support me and can understand the experience that I'm going through. The way I typically attract them is through my website. I really focused on making sure that my website and any other advertisements that I have really speak to the clients that I'm trying to work with, and getting inside their head and understanding the language of what are they saying in their head, what are they thinking about, that's keeping them up at night, and making sure that any wording or copy that I have is really speaking to their experience. Um, Also, to be honest, I think sometimes when people are looking for a therapist, it can feel really clinical when you're trying to read a biography of someone. So having a therapist that can be able to really understand, like, what is this person really dealing with right now, already establishes a really good connection on the front end. So through my website and through my like marketing and advertising, I really try to reach out to the folks that I feel like I work best with.
Awesome. And have you ever thought about starting your own podcast?
I've thought about it. It's a thought in the back of my mind of like, oh, that'd be fun. I'd love to interview guests and bring experts on and talk about different things. So it's a thought that I've had. I just haven't fully fleshed out what I would want it to be about or what I would want it to look like. But stay tuned. You never know what could happen.
Amazing. And outside of work, what do you like to do for fun?
For me, aside from today, because it's pretty chilly out, I generally like to be outside. I've got 2 young kiddos, and I love like going to the park, going on hikes, just going out and about. I also really like hosting like friends or family and cooking new recipes. Sometimes I'll do like a themed dinner night or a dinner party. So I really love like serving and cooking and kind of the hospitality bent. And when I can, I really do enjoy traveling, and especially in like the South, there's like so much you could see, but I also love like flying to new places and trying new foods and meeting new people. Always just kind of reminds you that there's more out there than what you see in front of you. So those are a few things that I love to do when I have some free time.
Absolutely. So, Miss Speed, please tell our listeners one thing that they should remember about Samantha Speed Counseling and Consulting.
That even if I might not be the therapist for you, I am actually happy to help point you in a direction of some other great therapists in the area. My mission and hope is that anybody that comes across or reaches out to me, even if it's not the best fit of like the type of work that I do, or maybe the schedule or anything that might be a barrier or a challenge, I'm really passionate about connecting people with resources as much as I can. So even if you go to my website, there's a resource page for folks with any kind of like challenges that they might be struggling with in the anxiety and trauma umbrellas. But I'm also really connected with the Charlotte Psychotherapists network of therapists in the area. So even if I don't know if I could be a fit for you, I've got so many contacts that I would be happy to connect you with, because there's so many great therapists in the area, not just that serve the Charlotte area, but also the state of North Carolina and beyond. So I love resourcing folks and seeing how I can help them. But I hope that they remember that. And I also hope that they remember that if you're struggling with anxiety or trauma, there is help and support out there. I find that these two things are such common challenges that adults, especially like millennials that I work with, are struggling with. And having someone that, again, can understand specifically what you're going through, I can be able to speak to that anxiety, the people pleasing, the religious trauma, any of the things that I specialize in working with. There's probably not anything under the sun that I haven't heard. So even if you feel nervous to reach out, I am happy to hear you out and support you however I can. and hopefully be able to work together as well.
Awesome. And how can our listeners learn more about your company?
Best way, I would say, is go to my website. Pretty easy, samanthaspeed.com. I try to make things pretty streamlined and simple to read and understand. So you can poke around on my website. If you're interested in scheduling a free 15-minute consultation call, I am happy to do that. My contact page on my website. And again, there's resources on there as well. You can also shoot me an email at info@samanthaspeed.com. And then for any fun and or educational videos, I'm on Instagram at sam.speed.listens. And those are the main places you can find me.
Awesome. Well, Miss Samantha, I really appreciate you being on the show. We wish you and your business the best moving forward.
Thank you so much. Same as well. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpnorthcharlotte.com. That's gnpnorthcharlotte.com or call 980-842-6352.